Lucky for them, they were there the first day when people were still nice.
They were now. So Paul and I and Mike were there Monday. People were really nice. Nobody saying. Everybody was saying thank you. You know, thank you. You know, we understand this bad situation. So I guess, yeah, they were nice. Then I guess Frank the guy got really shitty. Did you hear that?
No, of course he did.
He got there early. He got there like 11:30 or something. He got out of his car, walked up to grab some.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Fredonia Village Hall for the Board of Trustees workshop, 911 Church Street in Fredonia, New York, on this Wednesday, July 16th, 2025 at 9 a.m. I'm Mayor Michael Ferguson. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All trustees are here this morning with the exception of Mr. Brockler. And we have special guests this morning. I'd like to welcome Ken Morris, CEO of Brooks Hospital, and Mr. Rob Bragg from Kaleida Health to go over the proposed plans for us for the new hospital that we're looking very much forward to coming to the community. Gentlemen.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having us. I appreciate the time. This has been a long effort, as you know. Very familiar, I'm sure, with my face at this point, coming here and requesting and sharing the efforts that have been ongoing for quite some time. And with me today is Rob Bragg with Kaleida Health. He is the Vice President of Campus Planning. He and his team has been working long hours to help bring what we have to share with you today. As you know, we've been in front of the planning board a number of times, and so here we would like to share some of the work that's been taking place, give you an update, and answer any questions you have here today. So with that said, I'll go back just and summarize some of what has occurred over the last couple of years and months. As you know, our original plan really entailed one inpatient hospital that was approximately 101,000 square feet, okay? Over time, we knew that as part of our vision, we needed to incorporate outpatient services, some of those services that we currently have. We also wanted to have a place that physicians can come and practice on campus as well, and essentially create a one care site for our patients to be able to see their patient, to be able to see their doctors, as well as seek care from the hospital itself. And so it's taken some time to bring that vision, put it on paper. It was once an MOB that was theory, and we knew that we had enough space to add it. And so over the last, like I said, many months, it's how do we create that vision, put it on paper, bring those services together. And so here on the site plan, you see one single building with an expansion of not just 101,000 square feet, but it's really expanded services to 133,000 square feet. There's some other additions. As you know, we've talked about what the needs are for the area and, quite frankly, the region. Approximately half of our patients come from outside of Dunkirk and Fredonia. And so when we take a look at this location, it's very important to make sure that we're providing better access, not just for these two communities, but all communities within Northern Chautauqua County. We believe this location does that. It not only provides better access, but it ensures that we're able to provide inpatient care for our community members, as well as additional services that we expanded. And so just to name a few, we know that emergency care is critical for our community. So adding a heliport on this campus for expediting transportation, we knew was very important for our community. Two, our emergency department. If you've been to our emergency department, it is tight, it's very small. It's 9 bays, and we'll be expanding that space to 16 bays. We're also going to be expanding our procedural space. So we've brought some providers to the community, and we have some strategies in place to continue to add services in those areas. Currently in this footprint, we're going to have obviously ORs that are designed better for the space and the care that meets today's healthcare. we're also going to have some added procedural space. And we'll make sure that we will have the space for clinics, for providers to be there, as well as continuing all the outpatient services that we provide today. So with that, we have our site plan. We also have some drawings that share the overall exterior look and the renderings. And so I'll stop there and see, Rob, anything you'd like to add at this time?
Just Clyde Health's very excited to be part of and honored to provide financial support and leadership. We put a really good team together in terms of the construction. Turner Construction helped us build Children's Hospital most recently. They're working on the Bill Stadium. They accepted interest in this project. They will be building. They'll be our construction manager. We've got a one-story building instead of a two-story building. So we're trying to maximize the availability of the 30 acres. Clyda owns the land now, so that seals our commitment. As Ken pointed out, we're working with county interested parties to try to get a site plan and secret approval before a 7:30 deadline by New York State, which is important for our funding. So thank you for all your support, and the feedback we've been getting from the community has been excellent. We conducted with an independent assessor a health equity impact study. So we're trying to do everything possible, but the feedback's been amazing, and we're trying to incorporate as much as we possibly can to the design of this facility.
So any questions on the site plan?
This past week, I think I saw an article from when you guys went to the county, and they had mentioned they wanted sidewalks along both streets. There's already sidewalks along all of Route 20.
What they wanted, our experience is on the main drives, we don't have much pedestrian traffic at our other hospitals. What they wanted was a connection from the campus,
Okay.
from here, up into the main road here. They realized that, Ben, it's a little complicated. It's probably not. But it's part of their connectivity, you know. I'm a planner in the city a lot, I get it. We'll find a solution to get a bike and pedestrian type of pathway to help connect it. Our issue obviously is we're focused on urgent emergency care coming in, and pedestrians and that don't always mix well. But we think we have a compromise for that. So that's what they were talking about, is basically how do I get, if somebody wants to come up here and walk down the sidewalk and get a McDonald's or go to the market, how would they do that safely?
Sure.
Our answer is they're probably going to get on their cell phone, have an Uber driver drop it off and bring it to them, but you know, we're listening.
And just so you guys are aware, the state will be doing work on that crosswalk that's right by the high school. Last I knew, they had plans to put in a little pedestrian island, so that crosswalk there is going to get a little update and a little bit safer. Yeah.
Yeah, so basically you're right. That's what came out of the approval, a recommendation for approval to the lead agency was, hey, could we figure out some way to connect the campus to this sidewalk? And so we'll come up with something.
Is this the plan that the planning board had approved when it was presented to them?
So county? Yeah,
County and-
yeah. We haven't got, so we're up for, on the 23rd
Okay.
for approval. We have, the exercise is, yes, this is what the plan's been introduced through work plans, that's correct. Again, it's a one-story building, not a two-story building. The helipad remains in the same location that was approved 7 years ago. We moved it slightly, but not very much. It's the exact same flight plan that was already reviewed.
And again, you have a pretty stringent deadline, the end of July.
Yeah.
So it's important to get this
Yes,
passed through.
The state notified us that we needed to have our seeker and site plan in order by 7:30. So we're gonna take it right up to the week before.
Is that to meet grant deadlines?
That's exactly right. Budget pressure
Yeah.
from.
Could you elaborate a bit on the below-grade infrastructure, and are you having any specific challenges?
So we like the site from a geo perspective. There's a little bit of grading, so we are gonna ask for an early package from New York State approval to allow the, get some grading done and allow some settling to happen. But there's no below grade infrastructure on this. There's no basement,
Well, I really meant like utilities.
Oh, sure.
Sewer,
Sorry.
water.
So we'll have connections. We're gonna use water from both sides, both points. That's pretty typical hospital construction. We like to have two places with the proper valving. Electrical will come here, sewer will come out into here, and we're using the grade to help with the sewer drainage.
And second question, recently been publicized that the costs have changed for the project. Just comment on that.
Yeah, significantly. So our budget pressures, inflation, tariffs, competition, NFL stadium, it's driven the prices up significantly. So yeah, and the state has recognized that. I give credit to the state for helping us navigate that financial challenge, but absolutely. And as you mentioned, this is a bigger facility. I know it's only one story, and that's what we use to kind of keep the costs down. In the hospital world, actually, one story is cheaper because we don't have all the seismic and fire code. With a two-story, we don't have the elevators, we don't have all that stuff, those things to deal with from a life safety perspective, but still significant financial pressures around tariffs and inflation.
Yeah, so I think the key points are the inflation piece. We're sitting here talking about a project that has been moved almost 8-9 years at this point,
correct.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you think about what was originally designed at that
Yeah.
time. Square footage, again, going from 100 to 1,000, I mean, we're adding 34,000 more square feet to it to add more services and keep those to the community. So those two things alone make a huge difference in our cost structure. And not just the cost of construction itself, but technology. I mean, a lot has changed in terms of enhancements, in terms of what we put into that building, IT infrastructure, all the clinical equipment, diagnostic equipment, the surgical capabilities, the future around AI and our electronic health records. All that infrastructure that is there in place now is much different than it was, 8-9 years ago.
Good question.
I know. Anybody else? Go ahead, Michelle.
So the 200 million, where's that money coming from?
That's all in, by the way. It's everything, that's all in, all in.
Is
So
that a
it's
mixture of
cost of
Collider?
financing, it's cost of
Okay,
equipment and,
Well-
everything and make it happen. It's a combination. It's a blend of bond. There'll be a mortgage on this property
Okay.
through Kaleido.
So
There will be
Kaleido is
equity.
investing
Oh,
money
yes,
into-
significant
okay.
investment.
right, that's what I
Yeah,
wanted to
state's
see.
coming up with it. Been very helpful, but doesn't get it all done.
What about the ORs? Are those for outpatient?
Combination of both, all right? So,
Combination of both?
Combination of both. So as you know, we've added orthopedic service line, expanded, we've added a spine program, we're doing complex hip replacements, knees, in those spaces. We want to make sure we right-size that. Our current ORs is actually less than 400 square feet.
Wow.
Today's expectation is minimum 550 to 600 square feet,
Yeah.
and so we're going to have much more space for these professionals to come here. Again, it's going to be a very important recruiting tool for us in our future. You think about our current shell, that location hasn't had significant investments in decades, okay? And so when you have professionals that are coming out of their programs, they've experienced their training in a high-tech, in a modern facility, and they come to our facility, it is quite a challenge to bring people to our area. This will be a great tool to be able to bring professionals back to our area and support our healthcare for the future.
Which will also go to a statement that we've been pounding on since the beginning. Homeowners need to take advantage and developers need to take advantage of the pro-housing initiative. We need our downtown to be where it needs to be within the next 2 to 3 years for incoming medical professionals, families, people that are going to be working in this hospital. And also those people that are going to be visiting us, building this hospital, and utilizing this hospital. So it's very, very important that we continue to look at things like our DRI program, Main Street New York programs, and others that develop the downtown core, which is something that medical professionals, their families are going to be looking at. We already know we've got a good school system. We have the college system here. And now let's upgrade our housing, let's upgrade our downtowns so that we are ready, that when these people come to Fredonia, we're always putting our best foot forward as usual.
Let's assume that everything goes well and everything's in place by the end of the month that the state is requesting. What is the realistic date to begin actual work on the property?
Again, we're gonna have a small package, we're working on right now just to get rid of some of the concrete pads and things like that. That could happen this month, at the end of this month, assuming everything goes to plan. Like I said, we'll go to the state, in this, end of August, September timeframe to ask to do some additional site work grading and allowing the land to kind of find itself and get our site work done, ahead of the winter conditions is really. If we are successful in doing all of that, we'll let the ground settle for a couple of months. The snow will melt at some point and we'll get right at it. That'll probably be another 29 months before we're seeing patients. That's pretty quick. Yeah. Aggressive. My job is to make it less than 29, but anyways. We'll see what Mother Nature hands us over the next couple of years.
On that note, do you foresee any potential labor issues, shortages, the Bill
It's
Stadium?
always a challenge. Turner has really good insight as to what trades are available right now, so we're talking through that, like how do we fill in the gaps for some of them. But I'll be honest with you, the local contractors have turned out in masses, and we've encouraged Turner to work with them. We don't always need big players so maybe we've got a niche here. We'll do our very best to be as much local as we can, and I mean local in this county as well as Erie County. There are times there's certain trades we have to go into Ohio and Pennsylvania sometimes. That happened even with Children's Hospital. So we might get a sweet spot here. We don't know. We'll see.
Sounds good.
Good question.
Any other questions from the board?
Is there anything else we can show you?
I'll share the renderings.
I think you have the renderings, right?
Should be the rendering.
Okay, sorry about our professional display.
Okay, we use the same thing in Lockport. I'm from Lockport, New York. So the original approvals were based on a little bit more glazing and things like that. We did some thermal studies. It's a one-story building now and two. So we're balancing energy efficiency and operational costs with the same look. So the value was to still introduce some glass and some stone and some more of the more wood panel features. So we tried to mix it up a little bit. It also helps with wayfinding. We want to make sure the patients know exactly where to go, where to find the front door for the emergency department, as well as the hospital to either go to the outpatient services or find their way into the inpatient service. So that gives you some sense of what we've come up with. We're using Clark Patterson Lee, who were the original architects and engineers. We've stayed with them because they've learned a lot from the prior exercises with the community. And so this is how they translated.
Gentlemen, thank you. And I know you're working with Chuck, who's one of the best. And the board that you'll be presenting to later this week, I know we're anxious to see this move forward. Anything we can do to make it move forward or expedite things quicker, we'd be happy to do it for you.
Appreciate it. No, we've enjoyed working with the community leaders and, the support from building inspector and the planning board's been amazing. So and it's translated all the way to Mayville, so we got the same reception there. So thank you for that.
We want to thank Governor Hochul for helping get this through as well. They did a great job in Albany trying to get that done. It took a while, but now the finished product is on its way.
Getting there. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks for coming
Look
down
forward to
today.
seeing you again.
We'll see you next week.
Yeah. Have a good day.
Thank you.
You too.
Thank you.
With that, we look at resolutions, abstracts 767 through 770.
I just wanted to ask our treasurer, the money that's being spent to pay bills, there isn't anything that's not in our budget or that's overspent?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Number 2, Fire Department Lieutenant job description.
I had a chance to ask Chief Myers about that. So if we alter the job description now, depending on how the contract situation works out, if the requirement to have paramedics on every shift is eliminated, then we can go back to the current job description. So, anything that's in there is actually temporary because it could be changed whenever we want to. So I don't know if you've had a chance to look at the resolution, but it could be changed back to its current state, depending on what the contract, what that finally looks like when that's done. So,
Because
am I inaccurate in that statement? Thank you.
in the cost from an EMT to a paramedic, that cost is greater. Is that true, Treasurer?
It is, it's I think it's only $1, but we have, in the current contract, we do have to have the paramedic.
Okay. Thank you.
I just want to make sure that that wasn't a permanent change, that it could
Right.
be
Right.
reverted, so.
Thank you.
Department reports, code enforcement.
I'd like to thank our police chief for his donation of the vehicle for us. As you know, our current car is OPAC inspection and is in pretty bad shape, so we put it up for surplus. I think the fire chief wanted it for training. We'll have it picked out by the end of the week, and we're using the new car now. So, planning board met, we've been meeting, as you heard, for the hospital. The zoning board met last month, this month, and approved a variance for the hospital. They did a variance. They approved that. Tomorrow is another work session, hopefully a final work session for the hospital. And then the public hearing for the hospital with approval next Wednesday.
What time is that meeting?
Anything, right?
What time is that meeting?
5:30, always 5:30. And anything on the battery storage, well, yeah, I've got 2 potential businesses coming in.
It is done, I haven't received the final copy of it.
Yeah, I think try to get that expedited, so I have a lot of work left.
I'll give them a call today.
I've got one on my drafting table now that they want. It's the apartments over on Central and Middlesex is doing a $3 million renovation for those apartments, which is good news. They're in pretty good shape. They're investing $3 million into that, and part of that is going to be the battery storage facility. So right now, the way it stands, is they're going to need some variances, and to use variance, and zoning board typically never grants use variances per state code, per state law. So it could be hit for someone to get that law going as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's already been, we'll get that count, yeah.
And we need a public hearing.
Yeah, we need a public hearing.
Right, on that.
So we just need approval.
Yeah, that's been with our attorney for quite some time now.
Right.
Yeah, a few weeks.
Yeah.
So,
I do want to thank the county board as well. There's usually this time of year is when they start taking time off for the summer, and because of the deadlines with the hospital, they've agreed to stay in session. So I want to thank them for that and their cooperation on that. Anything else, Chuck?
no, we got the approval from the hospital. They sent us their recommendations and stuff. I'm working through the secret process. So, other than that, we're busy, but it's our season, so
Okay.
it's a good thing.
Very good thing, right? So thanks to Chief Price for the vehicle. We appreciate that. DPW.
Yeah, we've got a few projects going on. Copper County Soil and Water has started over at the Water Street parking lot with their bank stabilization. They're gonna be there for a few weeks. It turned into a pretty big project. That's where the fishing access is gonna go. We're gonna have an access down the creek. They're grubbing that whole bank, so it's gonna really give it a facelift down there. Should look really nice. Route 20, they've started some, doing all their structures, drainage structures, and bump outs, they're gonna put a couple in, so. I don't think they're gonna mill till probably August. They couldn't really give me an exact date, but it's moving forward. We've got the water plant road all patched up. We did some heavy patching, paving up there, so that should get us through for a few more years up there. What else? We're gonna oil and stone in 2 weeks. There's a bunch of streets we're gonna do. I gave you guys all the list. Mainly in the Eagle Street section. I think there's a couple streets up off of Seymour we're gonna do. And we're gonna pave Chestnut. It's gonna be a little bit, but we gotta do some patching. We're just playing catch up here a little bit with the weather, so if I had to guess, I would say in August.
Okay.
Chestnut will be patched. Just had a few water breaks here and there, kind of back our schedule up.
What's happening on Main Street?
That's the state project.
State project?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, well, thank you. Those streets that are going to be paved, stone and oiled would be Clark, Cushing, Moore, Eagle, which goes from Main to Lakeview, Gillis, Green, Lakeview, Link, Norton, Orchard, Prospect, Union, Elm, Woodward, Woodcrest, and Leverett. And also, as he's mentioned, August, hopefully sometime in August, Chestnut Street will get paved again. So I know there's people out there that'll be very happy about that, including myself. So,
Scott, I have just one question. I know a couple of meetings ago, we tabled the resolution for the truck, waiting to get final pricing on that.
Yeah, so the truck chassis is available. To equip the truck with a plow and dump body and all that stuff, they're still like a year out, at least a year out. So it's gonna be hard for him to give me an exact price unless we commit to it right now, so. I've talked to Alyssa, we're gonna wait a little bit because we need to use that money to do some road repairs. And I think in September, we're gonna.
Did CHIPS funding go up? Did I hear that correctly from the state?
It did go up a little bit, I'm not exactly sure what the amount was.
I'll check and see what.
did go up throughout the state.
Yeah.
But how much more it went up for us, got to be determined.
Not sure exactly how much. It did go up. We do have a significant amount in there. Like I said, we're working together to kind of stretch it as far as it can go, so.
All right, thanks, Scott.
Yep. Chief Price?
I have nothing.
Recreation Department?
Yes, I did get an update from Kayla, and I'll read that. She wants to thank Chief Myers and the fire department for the water distribution to the playgrounds. And this is the rec update for the week as follows. Fire hall tours are taking place this week. Lemonade stand at Elm Street Playground on Friday, July 18th from 1 until 3 p.m. Monday, July 21st, 6:30 to 8:30, dance party at the Lambert Playground. Tuesday, July 22nd, Lambert Bake Sale, 1 to 3. Wednesday, July 23rd, Nickel City Reptile in Barker Commons from noon until 1. Friday, July 25th, Russell J. Park Car Wash, 1 to 3. And that's the end of the report, Mayor.
I do want to thank, I spoke to Kayla yesterday. Keep in mind, and I know the parents have been told this, when the heat index races 95, doesn't matter what the current temperature is. When the index goes to 95, and we've only had to do this once so far, that is the end of the day for the rec department. So you have to be aware of the fact that you may have to come pick up your children earlier. We realize it can be an inconvenience, but it's a safety issue. Today is supposed to be a heat index day. I don't think we're going to quite get there right now. But again, check the heat index. If it starts getting close to 95, it is Kayla's call. It's a health call. And she has done it once already this year. No complaints, but I realize, especially for working parents, it can be an inconvenience. But it's for the safety of your children. I also want to thank, before we go into the fire department, Chief Myers, firefighters, We also had 3 of our police officers during the course of the weekend, citizens, trustees Esperson, trustees Wendell, who came out, joined myself, my wife, and others for giving out water, for transporting water to seniors who couldn't get out of the house. This is not an easy time. It's not an easy time when this happens. It's certainly nothing intentional, but it's something that we rose up, and I thank him for his leadership on that project and his staff for that project, including the volunteer firefighters who provided lunch to all the volunteers every day that we distributed water. The list of thanking companies is endless. Wegmans donated over 1,000 cases of water. Tops donated a lot of water. It was Home Depot, and Chief, if there's others, please let me know, or Chief, go ahead and read those. But it was well received and appreciated by the public, and you know, we do our best on that standpoint. So congratulations and thank you for the time that you and your group, and also we had people from DPW, we had people from the water and wastewater treatment plant come out and help. So it was a full team effort, and the community thanks you as well. So with that, fire department report.
I submitted my report for June. If anyone ever needs any interpretation of the reports I put in there, just ask me. I put kind of attendance report for our volunteers, so you can see that, and activity reports, so you can see what we're doing, you know, outside of 911 calls. So I'm here to answer any questions if you have on that. I'll kind of just brief the water efforts that we've had. We went into a state of emergency on Wednesday, July 9th at noon. That will be lifted this morning. The reason it wasn't lifted yesterday is we were still closing out some things with paperwork and assets, getting them back to the county, which they're doing this morning. We distributed over 3,300 cases of water. There was numerous press releases along with 7 update emails to all the department heads and stakeholders during this 7-day event. If you'd like to see this done differently, I can adjust. If you prefer texts or emails are good, I am looking for some feedback on that. I just want to, I know the mayor already did it, but I also want to thank DPW and Superintendent Marsh. I mean, he was critical with all the logistics of getting water, moving water, everything like that. Thank you to everyone that helped out, came out with the line and helped with deliveries. Mayor already mentioned it, but Wegmans, Tops, Home Depot were instrumental. And then the County Office of Emergency Management and New York State Office of Emergency Management was a huge help to us in this time of need. Additionally, I know someone mentioned it, but I speak to the rec department pretty much daily, you know, regarding the air quality alerts that we're under and the heat index. So her and I have a good relationship, and I'm always there to help out. That's all I have, unless you have any questions for me.
Also like to thank Frank Puglisi, Governor Hochul's local assistant, for opening the gates. They got water from the state of New York, quite a bit of water from the state of New York, delivered quickly, delivered efficiently, and along with that, Neil Gutman, the county emergency director as well, that helped out. So thank you very much, and the response time was amazing, and hopefully everybody who wanted and needed water got it. Wastewater treatment plant.
We are currently working on draining our south clarifier for maintenance and inspection purposes. And we met with Moley and their crane company to come up with a plan for the screw pump this past Thursday. And I'm still waiting to hear back from them on that. That's all I have.
And any further information on those acid tanks, or I know we discussed it?
We're doing different repair work. I'm gonna show Scott some of the pictures of what might need to be dug up, so we can work together with that.
Excellent. Thanks, Scott, for doing that as well. water treatment plant.
Over the 4th of July weekend, we experienced the loss of a sludge blanket in our clarifiers. This blanket is crucial for filtering suspended solids in our reactors. A subsequent process change intended to help restore the blankets inadvertently oversaturated the filter media, hindering the proper filtration. As a result, suspended solids entered the clear well, causing turbidity to rise. Upon noticing the increase, we immediately initiated an aggressive series of bed washes to clean the filter media as quickly as possible. During this period, we also encountered a green algae bloom in the reactor area, which further contributed to the suspended solids issue. Rebuilding the sludge blankets was a lengthy process, particularly due to the inflow of low dirty water. However, we successfully reestablished a sufficient blanket over several days, and the plant has since returned back to normal operating conditions.
Well, thank you too, because I know you're already short. Many of us are short-staffed right now in critical times that need to be there. I do want to ask you about algae bloom. Have we had that often, or just when you have such a extreme temperature?
Extreme temperature, no rain, it just forms in the reservoir.
Okay.
Not harmful, but just...
Right. All right, thank you. We got quite a bit of new business. Festivals Fredonia, Red, White, and Blues Fest coming up. They have their permits. 30-day waiver for Raven and Thorn LLC, 26 Water Street, which is looking to open their business next month. Also have, which I will distribute to police and fire chief, request from Fredonia High School. It says, "Dear Mayor, in the past I am enclosing copies of letters that were sent to both police and fire departments requesting their continued assistance at our home football games for the 2025 fall season. Thank you, Mayor, for your unending support of the school's programs. Hope to see you at a game or two this year, and you will definitely see me, Nick." We'll also make sure that, I'm sure if you guys didn't get it, I got an extra copy as far as the dates. I do have a letter.
Hold on, can we
Go ahead.
like go through and discuss these things? So the request for the 30-day waiver, is that for us to grant or is that for the state to grant?
We've done
this
Yeah,
before,
we've granted
right?
them before, and it just
Okay.
expedites their approval.
Okay. All right, so we can put that on as a resolution.
Yeah.
The school pays for the ambulance presence, correct?
Yes, if we do a standby, they get charged for it.
Okay. Is it the same with the police? Okay.
Anything else? Good. We did get a letter from the article in a paper which apparently reached Buffalo with regards to some of the issues that we're having with the building that we're in right now that have been ongoing for many, many, many years, from Clinton Brown Company Architectural. They renew historic buildings and heritage places. So I will make sure that the board gets a copy of this letter in your box. It pretty much describes what the company will do. And if you would like, I will set up a meeting with them just to see what's available out there. Obviously, we don't have the money in the budget currently or in the foreseeable future to get this done at any time. Also, we have the application now for the Chautauqua County 3% occupancy tax tourism development grant, which we plan on applying for. Grants are being accepted by the County Planning and Development Group from July 1st to October 1st, 2025. So we have plenty that we can apply for with that. And then finally, I believe it's finally, Trustee Twitchell, you have something that you'd like to put on the new business?
Yes, because of the recent boil order, water boil order, I'd like to present a resolution demanding immediate county compliance with emergency water supply contract and seeking remedies for breach. And I'd like to read that resolution. Whereas a possible decision by this board to purchase all water from the county's water district or any other alternative maintaining the village's water source will not provide relief from boil orders for an unspecified time, perhaps more than 2 years in the future. And whereas the Village of Fredonia entered a formal contract with Chautauqua County in 2020 for the provision of an emergency water supply intended to serve the village in cases of water system failure, contamination, and other emergencies. And whereas despite the contract being in place for 5 years, the county has failed to provide or maintain a functional emergency water supply connection to the village's system. And whereas over the past 30 months, the village has been subject to 6 separate boil water orders, each of which may have been preventable had the county fulfilled its contractual obligations. And whereas an effort to avoid a previous boil order resulted in county's failure to provide emergency water on request from the village. And whereas the failure of the county to meet its obligation presents a significant continuing threat to the health and safety of both residents within the village and residents within each of its 8 water districts located outside of the village boundary, and businesses, both inside the village and in its water districts, all the above being dependent on the village as sole water provider. And whereas the village board has a fiduciary, legal, and ethical duty to safeguard the health and welfare of its residents and water customers, now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of the Village of Fredonia as follows. 1, the village formally finds the county in breach of contract for failure to provide functioning emergency water supply system in accordance with the 2020 contract. 2, the village shall notify the county in writing of said breach and demand immediate compliance and establishment of emergency water supply capabilities. 3, the village authorizes the village attorney to prepare and, if necessary, file a notice of claim and take appropriate legal steps, including but not limited to an Article 78 proceeding or breach of contract action. 4, the village shall notify the New York State Department of Health the potential public risks caused by the county's failure. 5, the village will pursue formal policies to adequately oversee proper management of its water treatment plant in order to seeking alternative funding and infrastructure options to protect its residents and its other water customers from future water emergencies. 6, the village clerk is directed to publish this resolution on the village website and to file it with appropriate state agencies. And I'm requesting this because just to think that if we would have had those connections working on Route 20, we would not have to have had a week-long boil order or even any of the other boil orders that we've experienced. If those were in place, the pumps that were supposed to be there to slow down our water so we would be able to receive water from North Chautauqua County Water District, we wouldn't have so many boil water orders. And that's what I'm requesting from the village board.
Did we request the use of those emergency connections all 6 times? Because I know there were several times that we would not have requested because our line water was already contaminated.
Correct.
And we would have had to boil water anyway.
One time, when we did try to use it, it wasn't working because of the pressure, the high pressure of our water. Now, if you're saying our water was contaminated in certain sections, I guess I would like to know more about that, what you're talking about, because I feel that without having these connections working, we would have been able to avert many of the boil water orders.
So
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
once you notice something at the plant, you can't guarantee that some of the water that's already left the plant hasn't been adequately treated, correct? So when you turn on those other connections, A, they aren't gonna turn them on because then they're opening themselves up to intermixing of contaminated water. And B, we're still gonna have to boil the water because we can't guarantee that the water that's already in our lines isn't contaminated.
Let me say this. If Lewis notices right away about water coming out of the plant, there is a fire hydrant down by Bosse's that they're able to empty the water out of, so it doesn't contaminate the whole water system.
But you have no idea how far that water got.
I'm not sure, I guess I'd have to talk to Lewis about that, but the point being, these connections should have been made.
So when you spoke to the county about that, did they explain to you why the system isn't working now? I'm assuming you spoke with the county
When I spoke to
before
the
you-
county
Yeah.
about this?
Yeah.
The county has not cooperated. I
Okay,
mean,
But what
did
did
you
they
call-
say when you contacted them?
did you want me to contact them and ask them?
I guess I just assumed that you
I-
did. If you believe all this is true,
Well,
then I would think you would have verified it with them first. I know when I spoke with them, when they tested the line, the reason the line from the west didn't work is because the pressure coming out was higher than the pressure coming in. So,
Correct.
so we couldn't accept that water. So they told us we needed to put pressure valves in, reduction valves, that we needed to do that. And we haven't done that.
it was in the contract in 2020. Are you familiar with that?
I am. And whose responsibility was it to put, did it say in that contract, do you recall? Who was responsible for installing and maintaining the pressure valves?
They made the connection for us to benefit us and
Right.
them.
But did it mention pressure valves, if that needed to be, if those needed to be introduced, who was responsible for that cost?
Since they were the ones in charge of making those connections, they would have been the ones,
I think we need a
Right.
legal opinion on that.
okay?
I think we can just take a
I'd
look
like
at
to
the
look into
contract.
this further because I really feel that we're missing an opportunity here to have water come into the village and save us from boil water orders.
I also don't think that we should be involving the attorneys at this point. We're trying to watch our spending, and I think prioritizing a wild goose chase for no financial gain
I don't
when
know
we
about
aren't
that.
willing to spend money on personal safety equipment for the men and women who enter burning buildings is a very short-sighted priority list.
Well, you're taking a jab at me now.
So,
Well, and I
I
also
think
think that you
if
should
we
have
wanna read
hired another
through-
fireman
if we want to
put
read
us
through the
in bigger
contract
debt
and
in
see
the
if
budget.
that's
And I
contained
wanted to have another
within,
meeting to cut
that would
more
be
out of the
fine.
budget. So if you want to discuss that, we'll discuss that also.
We had
Okay, is there any
several
other
meetings
old
to
bit-
cut
Okay,
further
let's move on,
funds out
Mayor.
of the budget, and you proposed no further cuts.
Just
So-
just one more thing. I would be willing to entertain that if the attorneys told us we're in good standing. I would at least be willing to entertain it.
But what are we gonna gain after spending thousands of dollars on, you know what I mean?
If it's a resolution that trustee Twitchell wants to present,
That's
then
right.
we at least need to entertain it.
You can look into it. Thank
There's
you.
always been the issue of Fredonia having great
High
water
pressure.
pressure and very high water pressure.
Yeah.
Which is also part of the concern whether we hooked up with Dunkirk or Pomfret or whatever. Even if they needed emergency waters, and correct me, Lewis and Scott, our ability to send it out to people would destroy their water systems.
Yeah.
So it's a very delicate, and I agree on both sides, we need to come to a conclusion as to what's right and what's wrong on that. And I'd like to have Lewis and Scott in that discussion as well, since they are the two.
Scott's the distribution
professionals.
manager. He should be involved in this also.
So to my understanding, the county put these connections in years ago
Correct.
for an emergency hookup. We tested them, our pressure's greater. We know that we need to put, somebody needs to put pumps in, probably us, since it would benefit us, to override our pressure, you know, on the east and west end of Route 1. They just put those connections in so the systems were connected. We could feed to them, an emergency. But we know that we cannot accept water from them unless our plant was empty, and that fed our whole system.
Well, it seems like it was a one-sided connection then, in my opinion.
Could be, I mean, I would say, I would have to look at the contract, and it probably says that we would have to install pumps if the pressure is greater. I don't know that.
I would like to review that, thank you.
As far as the Vineyard Drive connection goes, the Dunkirk has a pressure reducing valve in there, so when we feed them, it corrects the pressure. It's a totally different hookup than on Vineyard Drive. When we get the water from Dunkirk, we have our pumps that pump it into our system.
But my
Fortunately,
understanding is that
that-
that Vineyard Drive connection would not be able to feed the entire village. It only reaches about to the college. Yeah, okay. Any other new business at this time?
We have these training requests. They're
Yes.
all, none of them are gonna be a cost to the village, so you can throw those on.
Yeah. No cost, so.
I'd like to ask the treasurer what our water fund balance is currently.
I will have reports on Monday, actually,
Okay.
with that information.
Specifically, I'm addressing the funding needs we're gonna have for our chlorination project upgrade, which we don't have a final cost on yet.
Okay.
Okay?
Any old business that needs to be brought before this board for discussion?
We talked about getting quotes for the roof for the Opera House. I think we need to expedite that because every week that passes is probably very closer to winter. So,
Have we approved the work at the library?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I've got a couple updates, but I also think this would be a good time to talk to the company we just talked to.
Yeah.
Who specialize in that. Perhaps I have some people that they can suggest to us.
the only other thing I have is I would like to ask Honk if they would be available via Zoom at our next meeting, so all the trustees can ask questions about how that system would work. Because as much as we talk to him and we understand what he says, we can't explain everything. So I would rather have us all as informed as possible before we make a decision going forward. So let's contact him and see if he'd
So
be
the
able to do it.
public, so you know, Honk is a company that has parking solutions. You don't necessarily need an app. You can have the app if you want the fancy app, as long as you have a phone. And they have other solutions with regards to permits and things that they want to offer. You can use as much or as little of it as you want. My suggestion, and I think Trustee Esperson's suggestion is with regards to permit parking in those lots, we can do that in-house fairly inexpensively. But the overall revenue generating and the fact that that money goes directly into the village immediately, and the fact that if you're in a meeting like you are here, well, not this one, we don't use cell phones, but in a meeting or having lunch and all of a sudden you run out, you don't have to leave your lunch or your meeting, you can just boop, 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 and off you go. So there are questions to be asked, but so far we've talked to 3 companies and this seems to be the one that sticks out as the easiest to deal with and the least complicated to work with. So I'll make that call today. Okay? Do we want that as part of Monday's meeting or do we want that part of a workshop?
Find out what's more available for him.
Okay,
Yeah.
sounds good. There's nothing else?
I think we should go into executive session for personnel.
Okay.
Yes, I'll second that.
You can't just say
Fire
personnel.
personnel?
Fire personnel, okay. Okay, do we have a motion to end the meeting? Don't need it, but
Yeah.
like one.
No, we can't, we're going into executive session.
Because we're going into
We need
executive
to
session.
vote on going into executive session.
Ladies and gentlemen, the next meeting will be held Monday at 6 o'clock in these very hallway. We hope that you can join us at that time. With that, we'll end this workshop and go into executive session, so we'll ask to empty the room. Thank you very much.
All in favor of going into executive session?
Aye.
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 Okay.